Okay, so Jane in the Discord sent me this video on TikTok about a guy exposing Erika Kirk for who she is. Now, I want to preface this by saying that these are quote unquote accusations or assumptions made about her and about Charlie's death. So, I don't want this to come across as anything that is factual, but considering the lack of evidence and information that's been going on since his death, it's very apparent that somebody has to have the answers. And it has to be somebody within these high-end circles, and this guy claims to be in one of those high-end circles, so naturally it makes sense that they would probably know. So I want to check this out. And depending on the length of the other video that he posted yesterday, we're going to see both of them because they're both about Erika. So I want to check both of them out. So let's get into it.
About a year ago, I was brutally canceled off the internet for having a billionaire father as well as political connections. But tonight, I'm going to use that privilege to expose what really happened with Erika Kirk. Because once you understand how these elite circles actually operate, the entire mystery around her becomes incredibly obvious. So take a seat, grab a bag of popcorn because I might get deleted for posting this. So in order to fully understand what happened with this crazy bitch, you need to understand the fundamentals of politics themselves. So politics operate very much like a social club with a social hierarchy. So at the very top, there are the billionaires who write nine-figure checks to the puppet class, also known as politicians, who in return give the billionaire class undying loyalty on the issues that matter to them most.
Okay. Now, as somebody who has claimed that he was exposed for having a father that was in those brackets, this makes a lot of sense. And considering that he says that his family has had ties with a lot of political people, it really connects the dots. So, in my opinion, do I think that politicians are bought? Yes, 100%. I don't think it's by corporations. I don't think it's by anything. I think it's by specific people within the 1% or under. I honestly believe that those are the guys that control the country. I do believe that those are the guys that are paying all the checks to these politicians to push these laws and to push all of this. I honestly think that that's how the world works. I don't think that this world works on anything morally whatsoever. Nothing has gone that way since, in my opinion, since the Civil War. There hasn't been a moral cause for the government since then. Everything else has been performative. Now, him being exposed by having a father in those circles just gives a tiny bit more credence to what he says, because he is speaking from experience. So, now again, I am going to say that these are just assumptions and accusations. I'm not going to claim that these are facts. But if you don't know what I'm doing, I'm raising my eyebrows. I'm here for the tea. So let's get into it.
Now, the most important thing for you to drill in your fucking head to really understand this story is that you may look at a President Obama, for example, and think that he is at the top of the social pyramid. That is absolutely not true. When there are these private dinner meetings with billionaires and with past presidents or potential future presidents or even a current president, they're at the very bottom of the fucking barrel. If you were to compare it to a social hierarchy in a high school, for example, the billionaire is the superintendent of the entire school board. And a President Obama, for example, is like the president of student council. He actually has no power over the school whatsoever. It's completely performative.
And that's been the running narrative for the longest time, is that the president doesn't have any real power. It's never been the case. The president just is a mouthpiece for the people that are writing his checks. And it makes sense. Do I believe that every law Trump has put into place has been his idea, even though he has made the claim that he's not bought, he's not paid for. No, I do not believe that 100%. He's a businessman. Businessmen know when to give up the ghost and to take a check when it benefits them. And Trump isn't going to be the one to sit there and be the only president in history that was never bought off. It's just not going to happen. In all reality, most of the presidents that most people liked probably in the hands of some millionaire who had them by their pockets. To be real with you. So it's not the president that you like, it's the billionaire who is paying them that you like. Because those are the guys that are pushing the laws. Those are the guys that are getting everything put into Congress and having everything go through the Supreme Court. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if you have that type of wealth and you have that type of power, what makes you think a president or anything of that nature is going to stop you from doing what you're doing? I mean, if you look at Epstein alone, Epstein is the prime example of the ultimate power because he was getting away with everything under the sun, and everybody in those circles knew exactly what he was doing, and nobody did a damn thing about it. So you're not going to tell me that having that level of power makes you immune, and it also, you're not going to tell me that it doesn't give you power over politicians, because you're crazy.
Every single time you've ever voted, you are really voting for someone that was handpicked for you by a billionaire who doesn't want to run themselves because they are busy ruining the planet. And honestly, being a politician is seen, as I said, in these social circles, at these dinner parties, as a very lowly job. So in summary, every single person who has made it to the level of a vice president or a president is nothing but a billionaire's bitch. So then this brings us to the fundamentals needed to understand the story of Charlie and Erika Kirk. So in 2018, a former pageant queen, Miss Arizona, Miss Erika Franzfey, stumbled into the brand new Turning Point USA office in Phoenix, Arizona. While she was there, she very quickly bumped into Charlie Kirk, who then flew her to New York City for her job interview at a burger joint, a restaurant called Bill's Burgers. At which point during the job interview, Charlie Kirk said, "Forget the interview, forget the job. I actually think I'm going to date you," because that's super professional, but that's what happened.
Now, I think that there is a very important detail left out of here, which he might have done it for his own safety. I don't know. But in all reality, there's no way, and this is an opinion of mine, I could be completely wrong, but I honestly don't think I am. I honestly truly believe, knowing that Erika was in and out of these pageants, that she never had any interactions with Trump whatsoever, and considering how Trump spoke so highly of Charlie, Charlie knew about his career way before then, and you're telling me that for some reason, she goes in, is in these Miss America pageants, and then goes straight to Turning Point USA, just on her own free will? You're crazy. No, that doesn't happen. I can almost guarantee you that Trump nudged her to go into that direction. I don't think it was happenstance. I don't think it was a coincidence. I think it was a power grab. And Trump saw it as a way to get a mouthpiece in to where Charlie was at. That's me. And I could be incorrect, but I really don't think I am.
Erika completely jumped at the chance to date Charlie because he was already anointed by the billionaire class that funded and controlled Turning Point USA as the person that was going to be the next president of the United States. This was not something that was a secret. This was not something that was implicit. This was something that was explicit in several conversations Everybody knew that Charlie Kirk one day would run to be president, and it was a running comment, a running joke that Erika Kirk would one day be the first lady. This was her life goal, and this was the plan, and the only reason in 2021 she married Charlie Kirk. She did not marry
Wait, hold on.
Charlie, she married the trajectory of the presidency and proximity to power, which is what she always wanted.
Okay. Now, that 100% I believe. I do believe without a shadow of a doubt that Charlie was being propped up as the next president. I honestly don't think that if Charlie wasn't assassinated the way that he was, that Vance would be in the position that he's in right now. I honestly think that that would have been Charlie's spot. That's just as true as I can make it out to be. I don't think Vance was ever meant to go run for presidency after Trump is getting out. I think that Charlie was going to do it. And I honestly think that that's why he did all the canvassing that he did. Because he was doing that to change the minds of young voters. So that way, people like him. And then when he shows up on the ballot, it's easy votes and it's an easy win. I mean, it makes perfect sense how everything Charlie was doing, from Turning Point to everything that he was doing, it all adds up. So I believe what he's saying, but I still have some doubt that it could be incorrect. But this adds up. I don't know what else to say about it.
Erika Kirk was never a stay-at-home wife. She was the operator. She hosted the donor dinners, she schmoozed the billionaires, she sealed the checks, and she ran all of the events. This is documented. Charlie was nothing but the face.
Okay.
He was the schmuck, the puppet that went to university to embarrass college kids, to then clip them on social media and raise money for his political campaign disguised as a charity. That's all it ever was.
Well, I mean, dunking on college kids is a wild thing because he didn't dunk on that many college kids. I mean, he got dunked on quite a bit. So, it is what it is. It doesn't matter. But, I mean, yeah, he did take the lower end position to try and get himself to be more likable in the eyes of younger people. And that's perfectly understandable because that's the easiest way to get votes. Especially now in this day and age, if you have voters under 30 completely like on your side, you're almost guaranteed a seat. You're almost guaranteed the White House. Like, it's gonna be a really tough battle if you have America's youth in your pocket. And I think that's what Charlie was aiming for. And Erika was getting the deals. Erika was getting the opinions. Erika was sitting there pushing the narrative to get Charlie to keep pushing the narrative. I mean, dude, it makes sense.
And Erika was the one that upkept and fostered the relationships with the billionaire class. The agreement for them was very simple. Do what you're told, ride the youth wave to the White House, and then become president and first lady of the United States. But things didn't go quite according to plan, because somewhere along the line, Charlie Kirk grew the tiniest little piece of a spine. So in 2024, Charlie began defecting on some issues that were very important to the billionaires that owned him, specifically issues regarding foreign policy. The donors began to panic that their puppet was defecting on the only issue that actually matters to them, so they attempted to appeal to him through the only lever of control they had left, which was his wife. Erika then began pestering Charlie every single night, which put immense strain on their marriage. Support the war, do what you're told, you're ruining everything that we built together, and it actually got to the point where this is documented that a priest had to be called to pray over their collapsing marriage, which I believe detonated the night of September 9th, the night before Charlie was murdered. Erika herself admitted on national television that at 2:30 in the morning, she urged Charlie to sleep alone in their daughter's room so he could rest better before Utah.
That's crazy. Sleep alone so you can rest easy for Utah? Bro, that's like gotta be... That's gotta be like the most planned shit or the biggest coincidence on the planet. Because why all of a sudden do you want him to be alone the night before he gets hit off? Like, were you in your room talking to your contacts, getting shit figured out before the morning of, and like, yo, that's crazy. That is crazy. And having a priest come and check on your marriage is a crazy thing too. Because I don't think they were married that long. I can't remember how long they were married. I think they were only married for like a few years. I think they were married for less than 5 years. Which is crazy. If you need a priest involved in that little amount of time, then yeah, bro, the whole marriage was a con to begin with. Like, that's crazy. And you got her pregnant twice? Come on, bro.
In the morning, Charlie grabbed his ring and his necklace from the bathroom and left for this huge, very important event without saying goodbye to his wife. It's been reported that shortly before his assassination, he messaged one of his friends saying, "It feels like it's over." A lot of people interpreted this as him talking about his life, but I think it's very obvious he was talking about his marriage. I think the night of September 9th, there was a fight, and Charlie and Erika decided that they would be getting a divorce. Now, I believe the only explanation that makes any sense is around the same time of Charlie messaging his friends that it's over in reference to his marriage. Erika also messaged the donors saying it's over, not only in reference to her marriage to Charlie, but in reference to all hope being lost that he would ever come back to their side politically, because
That's crazy. Bro. Dude. You know how fucked up this is? If this is anywhere close to being true. Like, you know what this means? Like, dude, I'm nowhere near close to a Kirk defender. Nowhere near close to a Kirk defender whatsoever. But if he was just a shill and a puppet for billionaires, and he wasn't really speaking his mind, and he was just speaking the words of a narrative that was being pushed by the people that were writing him a check, what if he wasn't that person at all? And people celebrated his death when that wasn't who he really was. When the person that they're celebrating was a bought and paid actor by a bunch of billionaires. Do you not see how crazy that is? Like, if he wasn't willing to push the narrative on the war, and he wasn't willing to push the narrative on other things, then he would just be a different person. That's a crazy concept to think about. Because I know how everybody thinks about Kirk. Unless you're completely, like, riding the tip of Kirk, I know what you think about him. He's a monster. He's a racist. He is this and that. He is a MAGA extremist. He is whatever. And all that shit is valid because of what he has said. But what if none of those things were actually his actual beliefs? They were just talking points pressured for him to say by the people that were writing him checks, and they were forced by his wife. Like, think about that. So the man you celebrated that's gone isn't even the man he wanted to be. If that is what it really is. So he died with people believing he was a monster. And he might not have never been that person to begin with. He was just a bought and paid actor. A shill. That's crazy to think about. That is insane. And I know I'm going to say this type of shit, and there's going to be people that are going to comment on this video and say, no, Charlie Kirk is da 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 da. I get it, and I understand it. Trust me, I do. I made plenty of videos talking about Stevie Knight and his obsession with Kirk and talking about MAGA people and the way they deal with Kirk. I get it. I understand it. I'm there. But if you listen to how this man is speaking about what this is, Kirk just seems like a puppet in the hands of a bunch of rich people, and he's not speaking his truth. And the second he started speaking his truth, they took him out before he could actually show you who he really was as a human being. Like, that's an insane concept to think about.
He literally texted other people that he would be leaving the Israel cause. Now, from the donor's perspective, the looming divorce between Charlie and Erika not only could represent the end of Turning Point USA from an optics perspective, would be absolutely catastrophic, but also represents the fact that the very last string on their puppet, which was Erika, is gone. So they had no choice but to do what the mob does when you don't listen to them after you take their money, which is to get rid of you. And we all know what happened next. Conveniently, a 22-year-old from 142 yards away with the best shot in the entire world got...
That's the other thing, too, is the person and the shot. Like, if he took 6 shots and then finally hit him, whatever. He got lucky. You're talking about the only shot that was ever fired, and it hit right on target. You're not going to tell me that somebody in their 20s did that shit. Especially somebody that looked like Tyler Robinson. You're crazy if you think that I'm going to believe that. And there have been military guys and weapons experts that have sat there and broken down the amount of time it actually takes to dismantle the weapon and be able to stuff it in a backpack, which you can't because it's already been proven, and be able to get down and out in the amount of time after the shot rang to when they saw Tyler leaving. It was impossible. It was just way too short of an amount of time. And I think they pay Tyler to be the diversion, so that way the actual person who was a real skilled marksman that took out Kirk to get away with it. That's what I think. I think Tyler Robinson's family was given a buttload of money so that way Tyler could take the fall, and eventually he'll get out and he'll get to sit on that money for the rest of his life. And the man who really did it gets to walk away clean. Nothing.
Rid of Charlie just in time to save Turning Point USA and anoint the new CEO, which is, of course, Erika Kirk. Just in time, right before Charlie was able to announce the divorce or the fact that he was leaving the cause. Nobody in the history of political assassinations has ever acted as bizarre as Erika Kirk. And I think that thing we're all registering as inauthenticity is actually guilt. Not only...
No, I think it's inauthenticity as well. It might be guilt, but it might be both. I think she's being completely inauthentic. Because nobody's going to sit there and turn their husband's complete mourning campaign into a WWE event. Nobody's going to sit there as a widow, get hoisted up by the Vice President of the United States by the ass cheeks in front of thousands of people when it hasn't even been 90 days since your husband's been dead. I don't think that shit is guilt. I think it's inauthenticity. I don't think she really gave a shit. There might be some guilt there, but in all reality, I really don't think that she gives a fuck that he's dead. I honestly think that she didn't care. But she uses those tears as a way to get points in the eyes of the public, to get more of their money, and to get more people to the events. because she's aiming to get Vance into the White House with her as the first lady. And I know that that's what it's going to be. There's no damn way that that's not going to happen.
Did Erika Kirk immediately accept the lone gunman narrative that doesn't make any sense for a multitude of reasons. She actually scolded the public for demanding answers and for being skeptical. The only reason she's not demanding answers is because she knows exactly who did it and why. Within 72 hours of the assassination, the domain Vance Kirk 2028 was purchased. Erika immediately sprints to take the throne of her dead husband by becoming CEO of Turning Point USA and publicly forgives the shooter on camera before we can even actually establish if he really was the killer or if he acted.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Acted alone. Bullshit, and if you believe that, you are a fucking idiot. And just this week, the Orange Puppet appointed her to sit on the exact same seat on the US Air Force Academy Board that Charlie once had, advising on foreign policy. The very foreign policy that created the emotional turbulence in her marriage with Charlie, leading to a divorce, and also the same foreign policy that ultimately got him killed. 2028 is already written. You can expect to see her name on the VP shortlist. There is a reason they are marketing her as the widow that overcame tragedy, and Erika is finally getting what she married for all along. So
that is crazy. Dude, if she even gets inside the White House, I don't know what I'd think. Let's check out this other video. But there's a lot I think that's going on. I really think that there's a lot more to this whole thing than I think people want to accept or believe. So I really do want to take what he's saying as a form of truth, but I don't want to confirm it as the truth because I don't want to speculate that far. But he has made another video, and I do want to check it out. So let's see.
I have never been so scared in my entire life because the information I am about to expose right now is going to completely ruin Erika Kirk's entire story. I can't even believe I'm filming this. So I got an email today from someone that works at Allo. I'm going to, of course, keep their identity anonymous. This person emailed me, and I'll put it on the screen, that they work at Allo, and they looked up Erika's account. And it appeared that she had spent over $1,000 buying Allo clothing the day after Charlie was...
What?
I can't remember everything she bought, but it was all black clothing. Obviously, it's not that important, but I personally found it super sketchy. I also don't know. And then she says something about where Erika lives. I'm not going to include that. You can see it clear as day on the receipt, which I will show you guys for transparency, that Erika Francfe, her maiden name.
Wait, but why is it in her maiden name?
Erika Francfe.
Over 3 years, spent $5,287, 8 orders. September 11th of 2025, $1,043. July 13th of 2025 was almost $1,600. Holy shit.
Her maiden name purchased $1,043.30 worth of clothing on September 11th, 2025 at 11:10 a.m. Guys, put this into perspective. I'm looking it up here. Charlie Kirk was announced to be at 4 p.m. on September 10th. Not even 24 hours later, Erika went home, woke up in the morning,
and went funeral shopping. Got her widow clothes ready. Like, that's extremely suspicious. Like, that's like stupidly suspicious. Like, that's like, yo, bitch, if you're gonna do that, give yourself a little bit more time to breathe. Because you didn't even have his memorial service planned out at that point. You didn't have none of that shit figured out, but you already had your funeral clothes bought. What the fuck is going on?
And bought an aloe tracksuit. I don't even know what's more egregious to me. The fact
Oh,
that
it's a tracksuit? I figured it was funeral clothes.
she went on a shopping spree not even 24 hours after her husband was publicly assassinated. Or the fact that she shops at Aloe, because let's be honest, their clothing is extremely, extremely overpriced for really, really cheap material. I hate Aloe. And the reason this doesn't make any sense is because, like I was saying before, if she was buying like a black sweater, like all of Aloe's clothing like has a fat ass ugly Aloe logo on it, and it's gym clothes. It's gym clothes. You're not gonna wear gym clothes to the wake, which leads me to believe it had nothing to do with any. She just wanted to go on a shopping spree.
Or maybe it was subliminal. Maybe she went on a run, and maybe the people had to see her wear black to confirm that he was doom KO'd.
It's giving Gone Girl. Like, please tell me I'm not crazy. And like this is not the most insane thing you've ever heard. And if you don't believe me that this is true, the third screenshot I have, it has her mailing address on it, and it has her email and her information, which I have verified. It is her. So do not make me release that, because I'm not going to leak someone's address. I don't care who they are. I'm not doing that. But like, the facts are the facts. She went on a shopping spree. Guys, literally, think about it. Before the body was even cold, she woke up in the morning, went online, and bought this cheap-ass clothing and got it shipped to her house. And
Do you want to know what that sounds like? It sounds like Stevie Knight. Yeah. Dude wasn't even cold yet. The man made, I can't even remember how many videos it was. Like, kind of crazy.
I'm really not trying to be overdramatic here, but I think this is one of the most significant pieces of information we have uncovered so far, because it's so telling of who she is. For those of you that have suffered a loss, for example, even if you suffer the loss of somebody who is maybe a grandparent, someone that's older, who you knew was getting sick, when you find out that they're gone forever, you are catatonically depressed. You cannot get out of bed for days. You're in a state of shock, even when it's not shocking, even if you knew the person was sick for years. And then for those of you listening to this who maybe have experienced a very sudden loss, maybe someone wasn't assassinated, but maybe it was a car accident, maybe it was something of that nature where you had absolutely no idea something like this would happen. You're shocked. You're shocked. You won't be able to go to bed. You think you're in a nightmare. The husband was publicly assassinated, and you went on a shopping spree to Aloe, of all places. But to anywhere, but to Aloe? To buy gym clothes? To buy like a yoga mom outfit?
That's kind of crazy.
Please tell me I'm not crazy. Please. Somebody please tell me I'm not crazy, because this is actually so fucking insane and I won't be able to sleep tonight. And for any of you fucking idiots that want to come on here and say, well, maybe she was shopping because she needed clothes for the funeral. Even if she...
That's what I thought. But even if she was, that's still an insane thing to think of. Like, dude, he's not even cold yet. You haven't even planned the wake. You haven't planned the memorial service, but yet you're already shopping for funeral clothes? That's extremely strange. That's extremely strange.
She was buying an appropriate funeral outfit, like a black coat and a black skirt, for example, it would still be absurd to buy that not even 24 hours the morning after this happened, because you would have been shocked. To buy an outfit for the funeral means you would have accepted this as reality. That is not how shock works. That is not how grief works for a normal person. And even if you want to bullshit me with that, no one's wearing leggings and a sports bra to their husband's funeral. I have...
Well, depends on the woman. But regardless, That's crazy. I can't even think of anything like that happening. Like when my grandfather died, I was stuck for a minute because it demolished me. Like I knew he was sick. I knew there were things wrong with him. I knew it was near the end, and it was just all a matter of time before he was gone, because he was bedridden, was covered in sores all down his legs. I was having to give him double his medication because the pain was so immense that he couldn't handle it anymore, and he was crying in the middle of the night. Does it hurt him that bad? And there's no way. There's no way I could have done that. Doesn't matter what for. I couldn't have just went to Walmart or went to the mall or went to anywhere and done anything right after it happens. And I was expecting it to happen. And this just, he might be like up in the air on how he feels about bringing this up. And people might think that this is useless information. But the thing you're not understanding is how subconsciously this just shows how little of a fuck she gave about that man. And in all reality, her not giving a fuck is no different than her wanting him offed. Because in reality, if his previous video speaks on anything true, it would make sense. Because she's gonna treat the next day like nothing happened, like it's a normal day. Even if her kids are sitting there and calling for their dad, even if, the entire world is either celebrating or they're in pain, she sees it as, oh, it's Tuesday, and then lives her life. That's demented. It's psychotic to think of it that way. And in all reality, I know people will shit on Charlie Kirk all day long. I think in all reality that Erika Kirk is 100 times worse than Charlie ever was, because she's playing it up as the down bad, woe is me widow, while doing all this performative shit and not caring about what her husband's legacy really is in the first place. Like, come on, guys. People might think she's bad. No, man, she's definitely worse than who Charlie was. I can wholeheartedly believe that, no doubt in my mind. But it ain't up to me. It ain't up to anybody else. Eventually, there's going to be receipts. Eventually, all that shit's going to come to the surface. Eventually, it's going to happen. Somebody's going to find a way to be able to figure this shit out, for real, and just drop it. And then the whole world is going to spin upside down when they realize who had their hands in Kirk's assassination. It's only a matter of time. And I think that's why they're rushing Vance to get into the White House. Because I don't think they have as much time as they want to believe they do. I don't think they have past 2028. I don't think they have that kind of time. And the only way for Erika to get in the White House is if she joins Vance right then and there. But as soon as this shit blows up, it's going to end everything. It's going to shut down everything that most people want to believe. And it's going to be a crazy thing to witness. So, if you guys enjoyed the video, you guys have any disagreements, join the conversation and let me know what's going on. Let me see what you guys think. Comment down below. I don't mind having discussions. Like, I know some people want to sit there and act like I don't pay attention. And some people want to sit there and act like I don't listen to the comments. But it's like, I'm not going to sit there and just willingly engage with comments that are just blatantly trying to just make me seem like I'm taking things in bad faith. So, I honestly, if you want to have a genuine conversation in the comments, or you want to get in a Discord conversation, my Discord's going to be down below. It's in my channel. I'm going to make sure that there's going to be a way for anybody that wants to talk about this or have a real discussion. We can record it. We can have a debate on it. I do not care. I'm willing to have this conversation no matter what. But if any of you guys are interested, like it, comment, and subscribe, man. I still got a good long ways to go. So, join me on this journey. Let's learn together. Let's have normal discourse. Not this back and forth dumb shit that a lot of creators want to have. Let's just have normal conversations. Regardless, that's all I got. I appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me lately. And I will see you guys in the next one. Later.